The Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Broadcasting from the Evergreen Media Network Studios in Vero Beach, Florida. It's Huntin with Heather.
I love it.
Welcome to Huntin with Heather. This is Season 1, Episode 1. I am your host, Heather Hawk. This show is dedicated to all those who love the outdoors and all those who love to hunt and those who want to learn more. From seasoned hunters to green hunters, this show will be packed full of information. We're going to talk deer, turkey, and everything in between. And of course, we can't forget about those stories that keep us coming back for more. I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, Paris Family Chiropractic, because when the spine's in line, everything's fine. So before I introduce my guest today, I would like to tell a little story. And my guest knows this story, but I want to tell you guys a little bit about it. So picture this. It's opening morning of season. And if you're not a hunter, it is like kid on Christmas Day to us hunters. Okay, we are just so excited. We have been preparing for this day, all summer. Since seasons has been over, we've been preparing for this day. So you barely sleep at night, all the anticipation of what you think is going to happen, all that. So my husband and I get up, we head out to our spot, and if you know my husband, John Hawk, he loves the swamp. And he says, if it's wetter, it's better. And that's where the bucks and the deer are going to be. So we we wade a little bit out into the swamp, we get into our kayak, and we start heading back. And when I mean heading back, it's a really small, little, narrow path that we're on this kayak in. I am praying, literally praying to God, please don't let a snake fall on me. Please don't let a snake fall on me. It is pitch dark. All I see is just a little hole in front of me. So we head back in, we get our kayaks parked off, and we get to somewhat what we would call land, and we start hiking back into our blind. We get to our blind, get settled in, and y'all, it is September. Hot. If y'all, you guys from Florida, I mean, it is the heat of our hottest time of the year. The mosquitoes are rank. They can basically carry you off, but needless to say, we get settled in. I'm trying not to complain too much. I was sort of a beginner in hunting, but it was my first time bow hunting, and it's opening day. So my husband's chair breaks, so he's now sitting on the ground, and we have to laugh a little bit about that because there has to be some comedy in it. And he can barely see out of the hole where the blind is, and he's like, you're kind of on your own, but. So I'm sitting there, I've got ice bottles of water. I'm just trying to cool off. I end up taking my shirt off. I do have a sports bra on, so it's okay. And I'm in a blind in the middle of the woods, so no one really even cares. But so we're sitting there, and there, lo and behold, here comes that buck that walks out. This is what we've been waiting for. I can see him at the corner of my eye. John can't see him, but he's like, okay, get ready. Okay, he's like, just draw your bow back. So I go to draw my bow back, and it's broke. Y'all, I broke my bow. And I don't know if I had broke it on the way in, or, I had just shot it yesterday practicing, but it was broke. I could not draw it back. I look over at him, and I'm like, my bow's broke. Something happened. He said, it's not the bow, it's you. So when I tell you, when that buck came out, the flood of emotions that was running through my body, the adrenaline, I can't even explain to you how I was feeling. So that was preventing me to pull back my bow. But I pulled it together, got my bow drawn back, praying I don't accidentally release my arrow. I'm waiting for this buck to get into range and into a range where I could shoot him. And he goes back behind these trees and these bushes, so I can see him, but I can't get a shot. And he starts to wind us. I'm like, oh, don't spook off, please. This is my chance. It's my first time using my bow, open an archery day. This is it, And y'all, he never steps out in front of me where I could actually get a shot. And I know you're thinking, what is the point to this whole story? But everything is the point to the story. From the moment we woke up, from the moment we kayaked back in there, from the sweat to him falling in his chair, to the flood of emotions pumping through our body and drawing back, that's the icing of the cake. getting the harvest is when you get to actually eat the cake. But when we get that icing the cake, man, that's why we do as hunters what we do. It's part of what we do. And if you are a seasoned hunter, you know exactly what that feels like. If you have not had that feeling and you just started hunting, man, just wait. Just wait till you do. And if you're curious, this is the ones who've never been hunting. Now you know why we do what we do. So thank you for letting me share that little story with y'all. And now I want to introduce my guest. He is a dear friend of mine and my husband. He was the best man at our wedding, avid hunter. You might hear me say his name is Michael Kincaid, but if I say brother, he's not my brother. He's not a preacher, but let me tell you, this man loves the Lord. So I call him brother, and I'd like to introduce him and just get to know a little bit about him. And we're going to talk archery. He hunts nothing but with a bow, and we're going to talk public land. That's what he hunts primarily. And so let's get into it. Mike Kincaid, thank you for joining me on the first show.
Hey, Heather.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Oh, man.
It's good to see you here.
I appreciate
Glad
you.
to be here.
And the one thing I forgot to say was you have always been a big supporter from the moment I said I was going to hunt. You've always been a big, huge supporter on that. You have been equally excited about my stories, to hear about them, and the good, the bad, everything. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we got you into the archery, and,
Yes.
and we can talk plenty of that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you. Where you from? What do you do?
Okay, I was born and raised here in Vero, and I've been in the tree business for quite a few years, a lot of years, and
it's Michael Kincaid Tree Service.
Kincaid's Tree Service.
Yes.
All right. And look under 5-star if you're looking for a good tree service.
There you go.
And we're not cheap. All right.
At least you're honest.
So yeah, I'm glad we can talk.
All right. So I know that you only hunt archery. You
Yes.
only use a bow. You use a compound bow, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Reason why? Is there a particular reason why, or is it just something that you've?
It's got to be the challenge of it.
Yep.
It really it brings you in close to the animals,
I agree.
and a lot of times you just don't. I've started out with a gun. My dad taught me, but through the years and picking up archery, it just made it more fun.
I totally agree with you.
And there's stories to be told. We all got those.
Yes.
And I always say, well, I want to look them in the eye. But but anyway, I've enjoyed that, and I'm going to plan on sticking with it as long as the shoulders hold out.
All right. Well, there you go.
All
You
right.
can always transfer to a different type.
Yeah,
But-
no, maybe. I was thinking about. I don't know if I'd go to what is it? The well, you got the.
I know. It's all out of brain fart too. Not the compound, but the crossbow.
Well, yeah.
The crossbow.
The crossbow,
Or
and
the
then
long curve.
because the long, yeah,
right?
you got long bows and
Longbows, yeah,
recurves and such, but they all take
a lot of practice.
a little bit of efforts in them.
Yes.
I like to go to a traditional bow myself.
Okay.
After a while.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah, the compound bow though is not. I mean, you've got to draw back. You got to be able to draw back a good amount and poundage to be able to. I guess shot placement is really everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they have bows you can that have good let off and stuff like that. And I'm thinking about going to a lower poundage too.
Okay.
I think you can get good accuracy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm trying to build mine up. I'm trying to build mine up. Each year I'm like, crank it up a little bit more, crank it up a little bit more. So
yeah.
But yeah. So okay, and then you primarily hunt public land.
Public land. Yep.
How has that been working for you this year so far? I know that you hunt. I mean, that you've been scouting out. We've talked previous. We talk all the time about it. And how's it looking?
Well, things change every year. They burn properties, and you can put cameras in, put your ground blinds up, and hope they don't put the fire to it. And you see deer, bucks on the end of the season the year before, and come open. And when you start putting cameras up,
That's right.
you may not even see them.
So do you leave your camera up year round? I mean, because it is public, so you have that risk of it, something happened to it. But do you leave them up year round, or do you?
No, I don't, because I know that things do change. Even this last scouting I did, I was looking for tracks.
Well, that's what I was wondering. How
if I see a good size buck track, I'll set something up.
Okay.
And but I know that I've hunted a lot of the same areas every year. I try not to go too far into different public lands,
right?
Because then it just takes a lot of time, and so I try to stick to what works. Yeah. And I'm trying to hunt closer to the truck these days.
Good. That makes sense. It's a long trek back. I know where you hunt. We're not going to reveal that, but I know where you hunt. So awesome. Yeah, that's definitely. I've tried to figure out too. With my husband, we hunt. We have a lease up in North Florida. We have a lease out west, a River Ranch, and there's somewhat hunting there still, but we have that opportunity. But we do hunt a lot of public land. You know that. We put in for quotas. Yeah. We hunt a lot of the places that you put in for quotas of the same places, and we've got, you have the hunt before me. Is it for archery?
And
you have the hunt before me.
Kiko or Kisso is
Kisso. We call it Kiko, but Kisso. But you have the hunt before me. We've got it after you.
Yeah,
I think the weekend after.
And I think it's because my son Wes has that hunt.
He has that hunt.
So brother John, your husband, says, "Brother, we got, we're going to be in there." And I said, "Brother, I hate to tell you this, but we're going to have to go scout for you because we got." So there's plenty of deer to go around, and a lot of times we don't even though there are deer, the harvest isn't always there, right? But the hunt is. That's right. And we also know the mosquitoes are too. So there is a challenge in all of it. Just getting up at 4 a.m. and trying to get there.
Absolutely. And where they hunt that particular spot, we sort of hunt in the same area. You'll hunt before us. We'll come in after you the next weekend. So we'll get, hey, what did you miss? Just kidding. No. Hopefully I'm going to get, not that, I hope that's what I get. Hey,
wait a sec. It's what I slept, was while I was sleeping. What do you think walked by?
Exactly.
Because we're going to be there. Because that's usually what happens. You get so tired. You stand up and you get in there, and I don't know how many times, you just shut your eyes. But. And
they say, I've heard many people say they get the best sleep in the stand or the blind, and so I don't know.
It works for me.
Not really done that. Now, my husband, my son, and they will, and I'm like, hey, wake up, but so maybe you can. Give us a little bit like what you saw,
You mean at the time of that, before that hunt, or are you talking about like now?
No, like when we hunt after your hunt.
Oh yeah,
I want to know what you've missed.
All right, well I could send you a picture too.
You could. You can say, hey, this is
what. Too, so.
This is true, man.
And I told brother, I said, don't send me too many pictures of the deer that he's getting pictures of out there.
That's right. Yeah, we were out there past weekend. We saw, and they're still in velvet.
Yeah, right.
We saw that buck. I mean, not a.
He looked pretty.
He was a really nice buck, and he was still in velvet, and he had a little spike behind him, so they're still grouping together. I know down south, they've been hunting, so south of 70, South Florida, they've been hunting, for a month now, or 3 weeks or something like that? Yeah. Hot.
I tell brother, I says, I don't need to hunt that early.
That is hot.
It's challenging as it is.
Even for us.
And there's plenty to do. Yeah. In between hunting, there's a lot of other seasons.
There is,
and we even have snook season coming up in September.
Right, you're a big snook hunt or fisherman. Yeah.
And I am planning on traveling to Missouri this year, hopefully. Yeah. And I had a harvest last year on a nice buck.
Awesome. On public land? No, was that private?
That was on a base. Sort of. Okay. That was on a military base.
Okay.
So looking forward to that.
Awesome.
I'm sending up some cell cameras to my nephew up there to get a head start for me. Heck yeah. And so I think that'll work for us.
Just need to remember not to leave your bow on your vehicle this time and run it over.
Well, I did set a bow. That's how, if y'all want a new bow and you got an old bow, just set it out in front of your vehicle and and then forget about it when you move your truck and run over, and then go get your new bow.
Yeah,
that worked for me once anyway.
Well, we're going to break for just a second. We'll be back in a minute.
Paris Family Chiropractic understands after a long day in the woods, tracking and hunting, your back might be crying out louder than a call to the wild. Paris Family Chiropractic specializes in back, neck, and shoulder pain relief, carpal tunnel, disc injury treatment, headaches and migraines, sciatica treatment, and so much more. Get back to your prime hunting form. Visit ParisFamilyChiro.com and schedule your appointment today. Paris Family Chiropractic, Vero Beach.
Star Quality Airmat here. Summer here is not only hot, it's super hot. So when your air conditioner falls victim to the evil powers of wear and tear, we're here to save the day. Call your air conditioning superheroes. When you need us, we're there. Star Quality Air.
It's hurricane season. Prune your trees now with Scott Tree Services. Strengthen your trees against high winds and remove broken limbs that could cause damage. Don't get nervous. Call Scott Tree Services.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. We're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns, including all in-stock Lloyd Flanders 25% off. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day. Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture.
Hello, this is Carol Jean Jordan, your tax collector here in Indian River County. All of our offices are scheduling appointments for in-office services, but you can get that little yellow sticker quicker by using our Express Lane. It's fast, convenient, and free when you pay with an e-check. Renew your registration on our website and select Pick Up at the Tax Collector's Office. Order before 3 p.m. and you can pick up your little yellow sticker on the same day. Order at irctax.com. That's irctax.com.
Welcome back to Huntin with Heather, and I have my guest here, Mike Kincaid, aka Brother Mike.
Hello.
Hello. So I want to finish off where we left off. Okay, you want to finish where we left off?
Okay.
So you're up out of town in Missouri. Who's Missouri, right? I think that.
It's Missouri. Yeah, my niece is up there.
Yep, and you ran over your bow.
Actually, through my travels, probably from there, I ended up in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
And I got invited to go on a property. Somebody told me I can hunt it. And it was sort of a crash hunt, just getting in there and pulled up on the property in front of the house and 5-car garage and unloaded all my gear. And I figured maybe I ought to move. This guy coming on back might need a particular garage door. So forgetting that, I had laid everything out in front of my truck.
Oh, man.
I pulled up on a hill, and it wasn't dirt. It was my gear.
So literally it was a crash.
It was crashing. So,
It's a crash hunt.
So anyway, I was wanting to get a new bow, and that was the opportunity, and I had to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I made it to a bow shop I was told about up in the corner of Carolina there, and went in there, and I said, I need a bow. I want a Matthews. That's what I had. Yeah. And I said, I want it black because I like black out in the ground blind.
Yep.
And I need you to get me in the woods by 5 o'clock. So he had me set up.
Awesome.
Went out there and took a 20-yard shot, which I like to keep it that way, and back to the woods. So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're able to, because that's something, when this is a trip you were on to hunt, I know you were going to visit some family too, but, you're out there and then.
Yeah, wanting to get it done.
Nothing worse. And so for non-hunters, your bow is that's literally your partner in the woods. I mean, that is what, you work with it, you get it sighted in, you get, the weight of it, the whole thing. I mean, it really does matter. So for that to happen, I can't even imagine. But you persevered and you pulled through and and made it.
And I've, you know, I always, it's another thing we've learned with my friends on hunts together and having your gear is before you leave out when coming out of the woods, you walk around your truck a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I don't know how many times things are laid up on the fence. You know, a friend of mine, he had his crossbow. I was trying to figure out what to tell you earlier, but he had his crossbow laying on the fence, and we got down the road and looked at it. He had this thought, I put my bow in, and sure enough, we went back and there it is, pulled up with headlights. And so that's a habit we try to make all the time now is paying attention to your surroundings.
Make sure everything, you've got your thermocell. So if you're in Florida, you don't go without a thermocell.
You don't go without a thermocell.
You need your release. Okay, that's what you draw.
Right,
back
if not a spare.
A spare, definitely, because that is like, that will, you walk back in there, you know, a couple miles, you know, and you don't have what you need. I have a buddy that got all the way up and climbed up into his stand and realized he didn't have any of his arrows. His quiver was off. So he just climbed back down and
I've done it all.
Yeah, you know, and that's just part of it too, but there's nothing worse than that, because when you hiked back where we go, you know, that's...
If your gun don't have the bullets, or your bow don't have the...
And I've done that too. I've grabbed the wrong bullets for a gun, so... You know, that happens, you know, and, but you're just so excited and you can't. So you ready? Are you ready? So Zone C, Florida opens up September 16th.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're all of us archery people, we're ready. Hunters, we're ready. You're ready for this, aren't you?
Yep, been ready.
Yeah.
But it comes up on you real fast.
It does.
And the other day I put a stand up. Brought my dolly in, got my steps up in a big pine that I was telling you about surrounding a marsh. And just walking through and looking at all the sign and the acreage, you know, you can go a lot of different directions, but I said I got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And even though it's a different place than I've been hunting.
Oh, it is. You got a little different spot.
So we got a different spot going on. And it's funny. I told Wes, my boy, the other day. I said, I got your stand up, and it might be a late season stand, but I'm starting somewhere.
Awesome.
And even cameras do help, but I also know that things change with public land. You think you got it all figured out.
That's right.
And somebody, and maybe even their dog, that feels they need to bring in on an early.
That's right.
You know, early hunt. So anything can happen on public land.
Yes, this is true. This is true. Well, I want to thank you. We've got to wrap up the show. We could talk, you and I, we could talk all day about hunting, and we have. We've talked a long time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yep.
And if you could give a hunter, a new hunter, anybody, one little bit of advice, what would it be?
Well, we talked about that a little bit, and with archery, you know, you do, and a friend of mine and friends told me, you know, you aim small, miss small. But I can tell you, you think you got it all figured out, and like Heather said, you can fall apart, you know, like a bucket of bolts, whatever.
That's right.
You know, so you think you know, it's just, I think it's just take your time and be patient. Try not to be anxious if you're hunting. Other than that, you know, try to enjoy what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that little bit of advice.
All right.
I know you always say aim small, miss small. I will always remember that.
Yep.
I want to thank my sponsor again, Paris Family Chiropractic. There's nothing better than going to get adjusted after a long weekend, sitting in the blind or a stand. You know, go check them out. And thank you to everyone who's been supportive of the show so far. I'm so excited. I can't wait to do the next one. So come back with Huntin' with Heather.